Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. You know, I've made this point many times before and I'm going to bring it back for this video, but the RNC as a political party has been in freefall, in decay, for over a decade. The RNC was on the brink of extinction 6 or 7 years ago. The party was in total freefall. It was near the end. No cultural power, no winning issues, a bunch of boring old men who offered absolutely no vision, getting smoked by Democrat candidates. I mean, not even close. You know, very often people try to paint Mitt Romney as the ideal Republican. Let's not forget how badly he lost to Obama, but most importantly, just culturally. Republicans were in seriously bad shape. There was no character, no charisma, no issues, there was nothing going on, and on every single late night show, even though that continues to be the case, Republicans were the butt of every joke. And what made it different back then, the reason why the party was dying, is because there was no one fighting back. It was the GOP establishment getting beat down into submission night in and night out. And what I truly believe is that Donald Trump breathed life back into the party. If Donald Trump didn't run in 2016, Hillary Clinton would have won. It would have been Ted Cruz or Jeb Bush or some other disaster going up against Hillary Clinton, and Democrats would have won in a landslide, and Hillary Clinton would have received 3 SCOTUS nominations. Donald Trump not only swept in and single-handedly averted the disaster that would have been Hillary Clinton White House administration, but he breathed new life into the party. And now here we are, Donald Trump a little bit on the sidelines. The party is falling apart again. The GOP is weak, capitulating, sabotaging their own. And I'm seeing a whole bunch of political analysts and politicians sending out warnings of what can eventually be or lead to the absolute total collapse of the Republican Party, and I'm finding myself in agreement with points that they're making. And so that right there is exactly what I want to talk about. It's a conversation that needs attention, that needs to be had. And so we're going to have it. Let's get into it, folks. Let's roll the tape. We covered this headline after the November election. Josh Hawley says Republican Party is dead. Quote, build something new. And this week we have a similar headline from Mike Lee. We will self-destruct as a party, Mike Lee warns Senate GOP, after they vote for massive omnibus bill. And we have this editorial piece from the Federalist. The GOP cannot be successful until Mitch McConnell is gone. All of these headlines very similar, and all of these headlines share one specific thing. And it's not just the theme, it's that they are right. The Republican Party is in shambles, and the blame lands directly at the RNC and of course their Senate leader goon, Mitch McConnell. They have absolutely betrayed you in more than one way, but it really falls on 2 specific ideas. The first is cowardice, capitulation, and the second is just not standing for anything. You know, the Democrats are flawed in so many different ways, but at least they fight, at least they come together and stand for whatever crazy ideas dominate the current Democrat culture. The Republican Party is the total absolute opposite. Republicans are supposed to stand for small government, but they're greenlighting trillion-dollar spending packages from the Democrats. They have one friggin' job, a voter mandate, so to speak, to stop Washington's crazy spending spree. Yet here we are, all they're doing is enabling Joe Biden's legislative agenda with a price tag of multi-trillion dollars in spending. It's insane. It's unjustifiable. They're getting played, and it's either they're absolutely incompetent, they're stupid, or they're corrupt and representing another special interest that isn't you. Whatever it is, it's a disaster, but it's not just the legislation. The most important failures come from the election cycle. How are you supposed to win elections with Republican leaders who don't represent you? The grassroots Republican movement is trying to find fighters to stand up for them. As the media and culture makes conservatives public enemy number 1, you have 2 options. The Mitch McConnell route of pretending like it isn't happening, not even standing up for yourself, assuming the fetal position, and rallying behind the most boring, empty shell candidates possible because they're candidates of value and candidates of quality, but really what they are is nothing candidates. You have that option, or you have the other route, standing behind actual fighters who actually stand a chance at giving the Democrats a run for their money. You know, people like Carrie Lake. And it's clear what the voters want. Elected representatives, leaders of political parties who are there to represent the actual voters of said party, are supposed to represent your will and represent your candidates. But instead, they're actively working to destroy your candidates. Here's a little snippet from an interview in Steve Bannon's War Room.
What you saw was the RNC paying consultants on the ground that were collaborating with Democrats Democrats. This is a serious racketeering enterprise. I mean it in the most legal sense.
Mitch McConnell actively grouped up with Democrats to destroy and defame Trump-backed candidates. And Ronna McDaniel very recently called Kari Lake a, quote, failed candidate. They're doing it on purpose, sabotaging Trump-backed candidates so they can then draw their own totally choreographed, manufactured conclusion at the end that actually it's Donald Trump's fault and we need candidates of quality. And what they mean by candidates of quality are candidates like what? Mitt Romney and Jeb Bush? Who are these candidates of quality? The same zero charisma Republican candidates who ran against Trump-backed candidates in the primary season, who I can't even remember off the top of my head because they're so boring and unimpressive that they sort of just fade away from your memory almost instantaneously. Those are the candidates that are supposedly going to provide a winning Republican future. Give me a friggin' break. It's a manufactured narrative. And if Mitch McConnell gets what he wants, if he gets a couple more wins here, the Republican Party is going to collapse. Because it's not just the charisma factor. It's not just the lack of confidence in these candidates and lack of strength and ability to fight back against the Democrat machine. It's the issues. Let's go back to the initial point that I made in the intro to the video, that the Republican Party pre-Donald Trump didn't really have anything other than very bland, generic Republican talking points. Ever since Donald Trump arrived on the scene, all of a sudden there's a coherent political message. All of a sudden Republicans have all kinds of winning issues. But of course, that doesn't represent the interests of Mitch McConnell, who wants to protect the uniparty regime of endless wars, who probably doesn't even want to secure the border because he represents a corporate class that wants endless cheap labor. The irony of it all is that Mitch McConnell keeps lecturing you on candidate quality while promoting candidates of the lowest level of quality. Change needs to happen. There's a piece that just got posted on the Daily Wire. We must beat Democrats at their own game. RNC chair hopeful Harmeet Dillon tells Ben Shapiro. And they posted this video of Harmeet Dillon at a Turning Point USA event where she makes a great point.
Outside DC, there's a whole host of talent just waiting to be tapped. One of my ideas is decentralizing the Republican National Committee out of DC and into America. This is day 16 of my race for RNC chair, and I already have hundreds of applicants for jobs at the RNC, and these are people who have jobs, but they want to do something to help their country, and so we're all pulling together. Now, in the midterms, our party was outspent, outmessaged, and outworked. And currently in D.C., our leadership is doubling down on stale establishment leadership, no new ideas, no fresh start, going along, getting along with the Democrats, omnibus spending measures, spending like drunken sailors, focusing on issues that are non-issues for our base. And that's what's wrong with this party.
It's time for change. There is so much talent out there. The only person who's getting in the way of quality candidates is Mitch McConnell. You know, there's a whole lot more Kari Lakes and Ron DeSantis out there. People who could actually challenge the status quo in the Democrat establishment. But you're never gonna find them with this Republican old guard that works tirelessly to gatekeep the Republican Party. Kari Lake wasn't a failed candidate. Kari Lake ran one of the most solid campaigns I have ever seen. And she is one of the strongest candidates. And she accomplished everything that she accomplished despite the GOP and the RNC, with a deck stacked against her. Herschel Walker, maybe not the greatest candidate of all time, but we're going to pretend that Raphael Warnock represents a higher tier of candidate quality. Give me a break once again. Democrats just outspent Herschel Walker 3-1 in the campaign season because Mitch McConnell refused to fund his campaign. And we saw the same thing across the nation. The Republican neocon old guard must be replaced with fighters, patriots, quality charismatic candidates who are willing to take on the establishment, or the future spells serious bad news for the GOP. That's my take, that's my warning. Take it as you will. That's what I got for you guys, and hopefully you enjoyed it. I'm gonna get out of here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.